Your battery will be useless after 2 years. Nobody will ever buy a used EV if they have to scrap the battery. It'll cost you £20,000 to replace it. What happens when the warranty runs out? Well, have you heard these and others in a similar vein? It is, after all, one of the biggest worries out there. Do you have any worries yourself, even as an EV driver? Well, Dave Takes It On no longer has any such worries. The battery pack in my 2016 Tesla Model S, which was bought used nearly 5 years ago, has been independently tested by a specialist company, and the results are pretty startling. And yes, that company now offers me an extended warranty for my 9-year-old battery pack. And yes, you too can have your battery pack tested and a warranty offered from the comfort of your home. In fact, while you sleep, which is absolutely brilliant if you're buying or selling a used EV. No guessing, get the facts and maybe get a battery pack warranty. I'm Dave, this is Dave Takes It On. Well, with an unknown technology, it is not surprising that people are wary. It is in fact logical that we ask questions. And it seems equally logical that those threatened by this exciting new technology will fight back. It's very sad that they have to lie and mislead, but it's very logical that they will do all they can to protect the status quo. No, not the rock band. Status quo here is Latin for the present situation or keeping things the same, which often manifests itself as fear of change. So when it comes to EV batteries, we have several additional problems. In plain English, there is no such thing as an EV battery. Let me explain. My car was built in 2015. It was shipped over here at the end of that year and was registered here in 2016. The batteries are NMC, that stands for nickel, manganese, cobalt. These were at the time, still are, amongst the most powerful of the EV batteries, but they would have been made probably late 2014 or early 2015. If you buy a new car today, you'll probably get an LFP battery, and that would probably be made this very year, 2024. And these are very different. The technology, the chemistry, the manufacturing techniques have all advanced over the last 10 years, and they're very different today. Also, your BMS, that's your battery management system. Well, in EVs nowadays, they have advanced. So modern cars look after their batteries better than ever before. So when we look at what is the life expectancy of a battery that is installed in an EV, to get a definitive answer, we'd need to first know an awful lot of information. Who made it? What specific chemistry was used? What materials were used? Amongst many other things. But we don't really need to know everything. What we can do is just make two simple assumptions. First assumption is that my battery made 10 years ago will probably not be as good as a brand new battery made today. The second assumption is that not every single battery will have been or will be treated in exactly the same way. Some people might only ever charge as an ultra-rapid supercharger, 250 kilowatts, and will always charge up to 100%. Other drivers will do the opposite. They'll only ever charge at home on a 7 kilowatt Type 2 charger or slower, and they'll only ever charge up to maybe 80%. And there'll be a huge variety of differences in between. To try to come up with a single answer as to how healthy every single battery pack is will be almost impossible. And it's definitely not needed. Now, I drive a Tesla Model S, so I am not very concerned about the state of health of a battery installed in a Nissan Leaf or a Renault Zoe back in 2015. Why? Detailed analysis of those batteries will not tell me anything at all about my own battery. So I suppose the first question I really want to know is, how long on average will an EV battery of any make or chemistry fitted into any car actually last on average before it becomes unusable? Now, I might also want to know, additionally, is there one specific type of battery or one chemistry, for example, LFP or solid state, which will be dramatically better than the average? Or is there any one specific manufacturer of the battery or manufacturer of the electric vehicle that has a much better or worse set of data for their battery pack? But for most people, this is absolutely unnecessary. The average is perfectly adequate. Well, let me very quickly cover just one last subject before I show my results. Premature failure. Some batteries will fail prematurely due to manufacturing defects. Yeah, they do. We saw this with the failures and fires in the Chevrolet Bolt EVs over in America. We know it was a manufacturing defect because the manufacturer, LG, offered to pay to replace all of those affected batteries that were installed in those Chevrolet Bolts. Well, these stories will be leapt on by those who don't want EVs, but in reality, cold, calm fact, it shows the opposite. They failed due to a manufacturing fault, not an inherent design flaw in all batteries, and these were replaced free of charge by the manufacturer, and the owners paid nothing. It's just like many of the tens of thousands, sometimes even millions of ICE car factory recalls we see every single year. A factory recall shows that they got a single component or system wrong, not that the whole entire car was completely wrong. Now, testing batteries, there are OBD devices that you can buy from Amazon, claim to measure the battery's state of health by taking historic readings from your car, but these are not always brilliant and they often have limitations. So in my case, I found a battery specialist company that is not so much concerned about selling devices on Amazon, but much more concerned about offering a comprehensive service for all EV batteries. And before you ask, the company does not know I'm making this video. It's not paying me for it. It's not sponsoring me in any way. I paid for the test myself as a customer, and I am reporting my findings to you as a genuine customer. Now, I will, because of the channel, be contacting them in the future, and any of those videos will be declared in line with YouTube policy if any sponsoring or payments are offered. Well, welovebatteries.com is just the popular website name used by Altelium, which is a battery specialist company, and it aims to bring a certain standardization to the industry. They want to give a level of confidence to owners and buyers as the demand for EVs grows. It offers battery pack testing, more on that shortly, and they offer official test certificates. This gives buyers enormous confidence in buying, and it gives sellers much more ammunition in getting a sale at a good price. It's probably more like an, I don't know, RAC engineers report in that respect, rather than, honest gov, one careful lady owner, never gone above 30 miles an hour. Well, the company's already been certified by Tesla, which is important for two reasons. First, Tesla is recognised as being at the top end of technology, so to get approval from them, it is something. Second, there are just far more and more older Tesla EVs on the road than any other brand in the world. Tesla gave Altelium the approval to access and analyse their data. Well, the main product they offer is a battery pack warranty. This fact alone should give a buyer a huge boost in confidence. And if the seller of an EV includes a battery warranty as part of the sale, that's huge. Well, first, this specifically covers the battery only, as this is the single biggest and most expensive bit of an EV and the one most people have the biggest fears about. To do this, Altelium need to have all the knowledge and the data required in order to know what they are committing themselves to. They have that data, they get it from Tesla. And if Tesla provides them with the data, that also means that Tesla has confidence that they know what they're actually doing. Their warranty covers all Tesla batteries up to 12 years old and 200,000 miles on entry. The fact they offer any sort of warranty implies Tesla batteries will not be blowing up in 2 years, as many of the fearmongers shout. Altelium believes that they are good for at least 12 years or 200,000 miles, as that is the age limit for offering cover on one. But this is obviously a minimum because the warranty will then run for an additional 1 to 4 years and cover not only total failure, but also a state of health dropping below 70%. Repairs are covered up to £25,000, but if the repair is beyond this, they will offer a cash settlement for the vehicle. On the downside, there is a £250 owner contribution. You pay the first £250. This company seems to be market leader. Quick Check reveals many car warranty companies offer to cover your EV battery, but only as part of an overall package and with very, very strict limits. One I saw only offers to cover the whole car up to 10 years old and battery repairs up to £5,000. And another expects you to pay a massive contribution of even that claim if your vehicle is over 6 years old. They will deduct the value of the claim, but yeah, it's not worth having for as far as batteries are concerned. So how do Altelium know that your battery is not already on its last legs? They offer a battery health test. Well, offer is not the word. If you want the warranty, you need to get a test first. But they also offer that same test to any Tesla car without needing to buy the warranty. This is exactly what I did. Costs 30 quid. It's done while you sleep. You register on the site, welovebatteries.com. You select take a test. You need to authorize them to be able to use the data from your Tesla, and you need to provide your VIN, a vehicle identification number. They then get full access to your vehicle data and can monitor it just like Tesla can. You then need to charge your battery. It must be at least a 25% state of charge increase, not just a little top up. In my case, I used around 50%, and because my car charges overnight, so the charge and the test were both completed overnight while I slept. I love this method of filling my tank that ICE car drivers can never enjoy. In the morning, it reported my test was complete, but I needed to then pay up the £30 to access the results. Well, I paid up. Okay, hard facts. 9 years old, 87,000 miles, Tesla Model S with an 85 kilowatt-hour battery with 80.8 kilowatt-hour usable. I jumped straight to the state of health SOH charge and I saw 90%. Now that on its own was just a great relief. For those of you who know anything about EV batteries and life expectancy, the majority of degradation occurs in the first few years and first 50,000 miles. There is a relatively steep drop, then it flattens out. So I would suspect my battery dropped to somewhere possibly around about 95% before I even bought it. And it's been degrading slowly ever since. Now I use the word degrading because it is, but that degradation turns out to be around 1% each year. My original car warranty was for 8 years or 50,000 miles. That expired late 2023. I exceeded the mileage. And the battery and drivetrain warranty, 8 years unlimited mileage, expired in June on the age the car reached 8 years old. That warranty stated, as almost all do, that the unusual battery is reached at 70%. I'm already retired, so an additional 20-year life expectancy from now is something I probably won't have to worry about. If the drop in the early years is greater and the loss levels off, my specific battery pack could be good for more than 40 years. The next interesting data is my battery degradation average? Has it been hammered? Regular viewers will know that I charge mainly at home. This year it was 73% home, 22% superchargers, 5% other. That other, by the way, includes free charging and 3-pin plug charging using a portable charger. I've never charged right up to 100%, nor allowed it ever to get down to 0%. Most days just sits there quite happily at about 75% state of charge. Well, the needle here shows me that my degradation is just very slightly better than average. Again, this is a totally reassuring figure. It implies that the average of any Tesla model of a similar age would only be slightly below this 90% state of health. Once again, 70% is the unusable state of health stated in most battery warranties, so the average older Tesla Model S will still have a decent state of health remaining after more than 20 years of motoring. These cars can be bought with quite some confidence. Oh, by the way, I'd love to see the results for a modern Model 3. If anyone out there fancies doing this test on their much more modern car, particularly if it happens to be LFP, please do so and share the results with me down below. The range section is really fascinating. My own figures that my regular viewers will often hear me stating are that my overall efficiency is pegged at 338 watt hours per mile. That equates to 2.996 miles per kilowatt hour. I call that 3. How do I know? Well, when I bought the car, I zeroed one of the trip meters and I've never touched it since. I know it was reset once many years ago when I had some warranty work done. The service centre did a full refresh, but for the last 42,378 miles, it's been totally untouched. For a 9-year-old car, 3 miles per kilowatt hour is really quite staggering. It's also a big car. Many brand new cars do not get this as an average. Yeah, I know most of them quote a WLTP of 4 miles per kilowatt hour, some nearer 5, but that's in the testing world. In the real world, just set one of your trip meters to 0, relabel it something like permanent or whatever, and just drive normally for several months or years. The actual watt hours per mile or miles per kilowatt hour varies dramatically on individual trips. The best I ever achieved was 9 miles per kilowatt hour and the worst down nearer 2. But my average has been a very, very consistent 3 miles per kilowatt hour. I really would love for others to do this and let me know their actual results. Not one trip, that's meaningless, but over time. Well, the test reported 80.8 kilowatt hour usable. I've always been working on 82 usable, though this came as a surprise. And that gives me an average range of 240 miles. Obviously less in the winter, more in the summer. Obviously less if I hammer it at 80 mile an hour down a motorway and more if I just tootle around town. But the range is very consistent with what I actually get. I work myself on 250 summer, just under 200 in the winter. This table shows exactly that. Mild weather, 322 to 357 town driving and 210 to 230 on motorways, while winter shows 221 to 245 round town, 165 to 183 on motorways. These figures seem to be almost exactly matching my own calculated figures. Even more interesting is the little black bar that was missed by me initially. This shows what it would have achieved when the car was brand new. And that actual drop is just ridiculously small. This test also prompted me to look back. My 9-year-old Tesla Model S is still a very powerful long-distance cruiser with an average range of about 200 mile on the motorway or 300 mile around town. I'll happily take that. If I add up my total charging cost over the last 42,000 miles using 75% charging at home, 7p, 25% public, 42p, then that gives me a price of 8.75 pence per mile. Let's be really generous. Let's round that up to 10 pence a mile. So the conclusion for me personally, first, this test is the best 30 quid I have ever spent on this car. Second, I am really grateful that my decision to buy a more expensive Tesla was fully justified. I did it between a brand new Model 3 and my 4-year-old used car, both about the same price at the time, and I'm really pleased with my choice. Third, any worries I have or had about battery life expectancy, that's just been blown away. These batteries will likely last the life expectancy of the car itself. And being largely aluminium, rust will probably not be my biggest concern. Well, fourth, as I'm already past retirement age, my original plan to keep this car until it finally failed is now looking entirely realistic. I may choose to change it, but I don't have to. Of course, things will go wrong. It's a used car. I've had some suspension steering bushes and bearings replaced, and driver's door handle failed, boot locking mechanism that's been replaced. Most of these were actually done under warranty, which only ran out this year. And these are minor costs on a used car of this age. Well, the benefits of an EV to me personally are simply huge. I actually pay about 2 pence a mile for 75% of my driving, which is an absolutely ludicrous figure compared to around 15 to 17 pence per mile on a comparable size petrol car with a comparable performance doing either 30 or 40 to the gallon. It's a totally different league altogether. I know that certain petrol heads will search for specific instances where a hugely inefficient EV in the winter, hammering along down the motorway at 90 miles an hour, gets very poor results. But of course, they very, very conveniently ignore the fact that the same EV in the summer, charging at home at 7 pence per kilowatt hour and poodling around town, is vastly more efficient and gets dramatically more than any petrol car could ever possibly dream of achieving. Even my supercharging has a really silly low rate. The average I pay is around 42p, meaning even my ridiculously expensive public charging averages about 14 pence per mile driven. That's cheaper than the petrol equivalent. I'm betting here none of these sensational clickbaiting sites, petrol heads, ever use my actual figures. Go on, I dare you. Well, I'm just one of many millions of EV drivers for whom an EV has turned out to be the best car decision they've ever made. I'm delighted with it. It does everything I expected from it. Would I ever consider going back to petrol? No, never. Well, I hope this video helps a number of potential EV drivers to finally take the plunge. I also hope if you have already taken the plunge but you still have worries about battery life, that watching this video will get rid of all those worries and allow you to drive your car with much more comfort and much more pleasure and far less worrying. I'm Dave. If you have enjoyed this video, please click the like button. Everyone counts. It helps YouTube promote our video to more and more people. If you would like to see more like this, please click the subscribe button and notification bell so that we can notify you every time we launch a new video. YouTube again looks at the number of people who subscribe, and they do take great stock from this number. If people really want to see more of these videos, they will show it to more and more people, hoping that they also will want to see more and more of them. So thank you very much for all those who have subscribed. There's an awful lot who haven't. We're up well over 16,000. We're heading towards 20,000 as our next target. So just before Christmas, give us a boost if you haven't subscribed, and if you like the channel, and if you would, just click the subscribe button, please. I'm Dave.